It's now 6:30 on Tuesday, January 10th, 2023. This is the work session for the Board of Education, the Greenberg Central School District. It's our first meeting of the new year. I'm going to call the meeting to order now. If I can ask everyone to please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. First on our agenda are the committee reports. Do we have any committee reports for this evening? Trustee Warner.
Okay, I don't have a formal report since I already reported on the last meeting. The next meeting of the Finance and Facilities Committee is Thursday, January 19th at 6:30 p.m. It's at Woodlands, or you can log in via Zoom call, and we will post the link on the online district calendar. And that meeting is 2 days after our energy performance contract proposition vote. So I'm going to just go over briefly what's in that, what that vote is about. An energy performance contract was negotiated with Con Edison Solutions to make our facilities more energy efficient. The EPC is a budget-neutral approach to making building improvements that reduce energy and increase operational efficiency. This means that there will be no additional cost to the taxpayer. Why the vote matters. This vote is not to approve the EPC. Rather, it is to request the New York State Department of Education provide Greenberg Central School District 10% in building aid as part of the EPC. This translates into approximately $2 million in state aid from the state to upgrade our facilities. What's in the energy performance contract? The energy performance contract is valued at $21 million in improvements for the school district. These improvements include upgrading interior and exterior lighting, installing solar panels on the roof of Highview Elementary School, installing a carport solar system and battery energy storage system at Woodlands Middle High School, installing direct digital controls and new energy management systems, installing or reinstating natural gas services, improving air handlers, replacing and rebuilding rooftop units for fresh air intake, installing new water heaters for all schools and new boilers in some schools, installing software and time controls to district computers and air conditioning units. How is the energy performance contract funded? The project will be funded by energy savings on utility bills, rebates from New York State Energy Research and Development Authority, and state aid from New York State. In the legally binding agreement, Con Edison Solutions guarantees the school district will save money via the EPC. If the school district does not save what is predicted, Con Edison Solutions will be responsible to reimburse the district for any difference in cost savings. So if we don't realize the savings, they cut us a check at the end of each year. When will the vote happen? The school district will hold a vote on Tuesday, January 17th, at the Woodlands Middle High School Gymnasium. Polls will be open from 7 a.m. until 9 p.m. Again, that's Tuesday, January 17th at the Woodlands Middle High School Gymnasium. Polls will be open from 7 a.m. till 9 p.m. Mark your calendars and vote.
Thank you, Trustee Warner. Are there any questions or comments about the EPC? I have a few. So, Trustee Warner, there was a little bit of confusion in the community about the EPC, and I understand the way that you explained it makes a lot of sense. Can you clarify for me, are those upgrades and repairs that are needed, are those going to happen anyway, regardless of the vote?
So, the vote is worth about $2 million to us. So if we don't get the vote, then we scale down the project by that amount. So the project gets smaller. There's the entire laundry list of things we put together there. Each of those items has a different payback period. They all have to average out to 18 years. Some of them take longer periods of time. Some of them take shorter periods of time. So, for example, the solar panels, there's the NYSERDA rebate is coming in from that. So those things pay themselves off in 5 years. So then you've got 13 years worth of of income stream, and that's making up for things that take longer to pay themselves off. So the air handling units on the roof of this building are things that take a long time to pay off. So those will probably fall off the list, or we'll have to do something else to deal with them, but they won't be in the scope of the energy performance contract. So the vote is important so that we can make all of the things that we need to do.
Thank you. And one last question that I've been asked. Why does New York State require a vote by the community in order to give 10% back?
They require a vote by the community for any project that they're providing state aid for. So if it were a new building, you know, there'd be 30 years to pay it back, but they'd want to know depth and detail what's in that project. If it were a new wing somewhere, it'd be 20 years, but they'd want to know everything about that project. If money is going out from the state coffers, from New York State Education Department, they have to approve the project. That's how it works.
Thank you, Trustee Warner. Any other questions about the EPC? Can you clarify for me the FinFac meetings on January 19th? Thank you.
6:30 p.m.
Thank you. All right, great. And I saw some hands over here. Any more committee reports? Trustee Thomas?
The Community Engagement and Communications Committee met on Thursday, December 8th at 7 p.m. Attendees were Catherine Adore, David Warner, Samantha Ives, Giovanni Mateus, Edith Horn, Kelly Johnson, Steve Morton, Francis Sheehan, and Liz Anastasi. We adopted our meeting minutes from our November 7th meeting. We then had a presentation by Catherine Adore on the International Baccalaureate Program and how it connects to community engagement. She provided and introduced the various different IB faculty at the school, provided a history and definition of the program. IB does develop inquiry, knowledgeable, and caring young people who help to create a better and more peaceful world through education that builds intercultural understanding and respect. Greenberg CSD is the only district that offers a fully aligned continuum, which means that we're the only district offering the program in a fully aligned manner with K through 12. So we're an exemplar here. She explained a number of the key concepts and philosophies of the continuum, explained various different projects that students are required to do throughout their IB journey. We received feedback from parents who expressed the love of the program and explaining how it impacted their kids. A suggestion was made about having higher grade students become ambassadors of the program for students in lower grades. We also had some communications on students connecting to community members to work on projects. And the next part of our meeting was on us. We discussed cell phone policies in schools. There were a variety of different opinions around whether students should have the phones or not, whether they should have their phones in school but at all, or whether they should have them in school but not in the classroom, and some ways that we might be able to, some things that we would do to have to make sure that they're not using them. It was expressed that some students do use their phones for research and to take notes. Also brought up how phones are needed in cases of emergency. We discussed the epidemic of cell phone addiction throughout society. We also had a little conversation that related to digital literacy overall. That conversation ended where I shared some things on ChatGPT. I actually asked the AI to write an argument as to why cell phone use should be allowed in school, and it came up with some pretty good reasons. So this is going to be a larger technology challenge for us to consider solving as a district. Then in news upcoming events, we shared that we shared that Andrew Stewart Cousins had awarded us with $500K to upgrade the track, that the R.J. Bailey Auditorium is in progress of being fixed. The energy performance contract was mentioned, which is Tuesday, January 17th for the vote. And it was expressed that the students did an excellent job at the winter concert, and then we closed the meeting at 8:57.
Thank you, Trustee Thomas. Any questions? Concerns? When's the next CEC meeting?
The next CEC meeting is this weekend, Saturday from 11 to 1. Saturday is
14th?
The 14th. And you can find you can sign up from the district calendar if you'd like to join us.
Okay, great. Are there any, I feel like I saw your hand, Trustee Valen.
The Governance and, excuse me, the Governance and Policy Committee meeting met on December 13th. We approved the minutes from the November meeting. We reviewed Policy 2210 on committees. The committee will request legal to review additional wording around committees of the whole before presentation to the board. We discussed a list of required committees provided by our legal counsel. Those committees are Health and Safety Committee, Building Level Emergency Response Team, Committee on Special Education, Committee on Preschool Special Education, and the Shared Decision-Making Committee. We reviewed an update on the policy review queue. I'm going to name the policies that have been under review by our administration and are now in the next stage of review or are about to be reviewed by administration. Currently with our legal counsel is the Code of Conduct, which isn't a policy per se, but is something that we need to review every year. Policy 3440, Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion is with our legal team. Policy 5633, Gender Neutral Single Occupancy Bathrooms. Policy 3110, Media and Municipal Governments and Senior Citizens. Policy 3111, Community Involvement. Policy 6411, Use of Email in the School District. Those are all with legal. The following policies are currently being reviewed by our admin team. Policy 5411, Procurement. Policy 5551, Allocation of Title I, Part A funds in the district. Policy 7133, Education of Students in Foster Care. Policy 7240, Student Records Access and Challenge. Policy 8260, Title I, Parent and Family Engagement. Policy 8260A, the addendum, the School Parent-Student Compact. Policy 8270 and 8270A, Instructional Technology and Student Computer Use Agreement. Policy 7316, Student Use of Personal Technology. Policy 7315, Student Use of Computerized Information Resources. And then there are a few policies that the Governance and Policy Committee is reviewing itself, and those are Policy 5661, Wellness. Policy 6161, Conference and Travel Expense Reimbursement. Policy 5323, Expense Reimbursement. Policy 2330, Compensation and Expenses. Policy 2320, Attendance by board members at conferences, conventions, and workshops. So even though we haven't seen policies come before the board for approval, there's a lot of work underway, and hopefully that queue will start moving through over the next few months. During new business, the question was raised as to whether recording of work sessions should continue. A fuller discussion or possible recommendations were postponed until a future meeting. The next steps, our next meeting is January 30th at 4 p.m. in the Woodlands Middle High School Innovation Lab. All are welcome.
Sorry, January 30th at 4 p.m.?
Yes.
Thank you. Trustee Valen, are we going to leave that question in the committee, or are we going to have that discussion in the board as a whole about having work sessions? And I wish Mr. Pineda was here. He's on his way. Having work sessions taped.
I suppose anybody could bring something up in new business.
Okay, so it's not a committee, because new business retired at the end of the day. Because there's another issue of the 6 p.m. start time that I'm probably going to want to bring up, and if it's 1 o'clock in the morning, I'm going to end up waiting. Yeah. Okay, so let's leave it in the committee for now. Any other questions or concerns, comments about the Governance and Policy Committee? No. Are there any upcoming committee dates, like Audit Committee? I know we have those coming up soon.
Regarding the Audit Committee, Ms. Raymond has informed me that they've opened the RFPs for our external audit services, and she's going to pick a few dates to to run through those and to conduct interviews, at which point I will forward some potential dates to the audit committee members for us to narrow down when we will do that. Hopefully sometime in January.
Okay, great. And safety and technology, Mr. Pineda's on the way, but do we have the dates for the next meeting yet? Yes, no? I'm looking at the people. I know you're on it. Oh, Trustee Valens picking it up. Dr. Macaluso, I'm going to turn to you since Trustee Washington isn't here. The next date for the Education and Wellness Committee?
Give me 1 second, Trustee Mears. Let me go ahead and.
Okay,
locate that.
no worries. I'm sorry. I know you guys.
I have in my calendar that the next Safety and Technology Committee meeting is scheduled for Wednesday, January 25th.
Thank you.
I believe at 5:30, but if there is a mistake, I'm sure the district calendar will be updated appropriately.
Wonderful. Thank you. All righty. I think he's getting the date for the Education and Wellness Committee meeting.
I have, Trustee Mears, I have it on my calendar for March 9th at 6:30.
Thank you. So we have some time for that. Next on our agenda, let's
Oh,
keep.
I'm sorry, apologies. No,
sorry.
We also have February 9th at, let me just make sure I'm doing the search correct. Thursday, February 9th at 6:30, as well as March 9th as well. So those two.
Okay, so that's going to conflict with the Highview, I believe that's the talent show. Yes, third grade talent show. So I don't know if one of those things might move, but if not, I will not be there. Okay, thank you. Next we have Dr. Iverson's superintendent report.
Thank you very much, and good evening, and Happy New Year to everyone. It is a pleasure to be here and to be back. I hope everyone had a wonderful holiday and had some time to enjoy your families and spend some time together. We are excited to be back. This is a great time of the year in school systems after the holidays as we begin to continue the momentum we have, but begin thinking and talking about next year and planning for programming as it connects and aligns with our budget. So anticipate and hear more about some of those ideas and where we're going as we begin to build that, and of course to talk to our esteemed Board of Trustees around some of those thoughts. Dr. Macaluso, Ms. Raymond and I have begun those conversations, and we're looking forward to sharing some of those things as we get deeper into the process. So good to see everyone. I want to remind parents in the community that schools, of course, will be closed on Monday, January 16th, in commemoration of Dr. Martin Luther King's birthday. Schools are closed. I would like to read for the audience from my phone email that I received today that recognizes Lee F. Jackson for submitting artwork to the New York State Department of Ed commemorating Martin Luther King's birthday. And it reads, each year, NYSET, New York State Education Department, invites schools to honor Dr. King's memory by submitting original student artwork and essays that reflect Dr. King's teaching. The student art and essays illustrate Dr. King's 6 principles and steps of nonviolence and celebrate Dr. King's birthday. To honor Dr. King's legacy and celebrate Black History Month in February, several pieces of student art will also be exhibited on OGS on the Empire State Plaza in Albany, starting January 11th and throughout Black History Month in February. Among the highlights of this year's exhibit are 2 group projects. A peach tree, inspired by Dr. King's teaching, was created by 267 kindergarten and first grade students from the Greenburgh Central School District's Lee F. Jackson Elementary School in White Plains. As an installation representing how much can be achieved when diverse people work together for a better future, that depicts 150 doves flying together as one dove in the colors of the rainbow, was created by other school districts here. So we want to, other districts in New York State. I certainly want to congratulate Lee F. Jackson and Ms. Simone and her art teacher and our students for their submissions to the New York State Education Department in commemoration of Dr. King's birthday for this recognition that is just tremendous, that they were cited by the Commissioner Rosa in this article. And I wanted to make sure we say congratulations to them and thank them for representing us very well. So thank you, Lee F. Jackson. You heard Trustee Warner talk about the EPC contract. My only point is to make the community aware that on Tuesday, the 17th, please come out and vote for the energy performance contract from 7 to 9 in Woodlands Gym, but schools will be open. The gym will be open only for voting, and that exitway there, entryway there will be closed off just for cars to get in and vote and get out. But schools are in force. Woodland Middle High School's open, regular time. Buses will pull up and leave regular time. The voting will be happening while school's in session. I wanted to also just remind the community about the Regents schedule. This is the time of year our students in the high school begin to prep and take the Regents exam. So the administration of the January Regents is scheduled January 24th through the 27th. And during this testing period, middle school students will not be impacted and are expected to report to school daily. The Regents test is for the high school students at the high school level, but only students who are testing will report during that period of time. Individual students who are testing will receive their separate schedule by the guidance counselor, and that also will be sent home to parents so that you know what date your child is to report and what test your child is taking. But all other students, if you're not testing between January 24th and 27th, if you don't have a test on one of those dates, grades 9 through 12, you do not come to school. Middle school students, 7 through 8, you come to school regular time, periods 1 through 8, full schedule. We have begun our security audits in our school. The one in the high school was complete before the holidays. The team is scheduling time in each building, and they're going on site to complete those audits. Once they have conducted and completed the security audits, we will get a comprehensive report that will be shared with the board. That's all I have tonight. I would like to thank you again, and we're looking forward to the 2023 school year. Thank you, Trustee Mayers.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Iverson. With regard to the security audit, when does that result come out? When do they give us a report on that?
Right now, we don't have an end date. They are getting around to every school. They've completed the one at the high school. And so they are working out a schedule with each individual principal. It's an audit that they complete on site. And so they're doing that process now. Ms. Ramey may have more information, but that process is not. Once it's complete, I'll be able to notify you when they're done, but I don't have an end date yet. They're scheduling it as they can. Do you know, Ms. Raymond, an end date when the report will be complete?
They have still yet to get to 2 of the elementary schools, and I have an email to Mr. Maraglia asking him when he will be done.
Okay, thank you very much. Are there any other, yes, Trustee Valen?
So to that point, I just in case it would impact any decisions regarding the budget, if we could possibly urge them to have that report done by March? I don't know.
I believe it'll be done before then.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Okay, great. I just had a question as well. I know that our academic intervention services that we're providing from Lee F. Jackson through Bailey, I believe the after-school services has started this week. And I'm looking between you and Dr. Macaluso because he's the curriculum guy. So one of the questions that I had about this was about the kids staying after school, and this is an academic intervention. It's not a co-curricular activity. And we're not providing any sort of food for the children as far as snacks are concerned. I found that out as a parent, and I'm just trying to find out why that is, or why wouldn't we provide like water and chips or orange and some pretzels or something. I know at least my child or most children, when they come home from school, right away they're hungry or tired, right? So if we're keeping kids after school for academic intervention, I'm wondering why there's not a snack component. I know in the past for this type of thing, we've done a Saturday school program. We had food available. So I'm just wondering if you guys thought about that at all. And if not, if it's a possibility. If it's not a possibility, why not? Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Mears, for that piece of feedback that has not been brought to our attention yet. First, we have not been providing snacks, but it has not been brought to our attention yet that might be a need. So I will collaborate with Ms. Raymond and the school principals to make sure that if there is a need for snacks, we can provide whatever we can provide, we will.
Thank you so much. Is there any way, Ms. Raymond, I'm sorry, if you don't have the answer right now, maybe we could get it later. How is the academic interventions that we're providing for the children being paid for? Out of what fund, grant, program?
I can take that, Trustee Mears.
Oh,
So currently we are covering our after-school academic intervention programs through our 1003B grant, which is a Title I school improvement grant. And those are monies that are provided to the district as a result of our previous designation of being a targeted district.
Great. So, yeah, definitely if we're a targeted district and we have Title I monies that can be used to provide those services, we definitely can feed the children, especially if we have some free and reduced lunch children in the program. Okay, well, thank you. I look forward to getting that answer. I'll move right along to Board President's report. I'll keep this short. I just wanted to welcome everyone, saying Happy New Year. Welcome back to school. There were a lot of wonderful presentations and performances at the end of the school year. I heard Trustee Thomas talk about the winter concerts that ensued. It was absolutely wonderful, and there's a lot of things that the kids are preparing for coming up. You may see the red bushels there on the stage here. This is for, I think, our Asian Heritage Month that is coming up, or celebration that they're having. The kids are practicing for that. I believe that's in the 19th of January. I keep looking at Dr. Macaluso because I think you will know as well. So please keep coming out and supporting our children. And also ECP, I was asked to remind everyone that there is a parent registration that comes up this Thursday, which I believe is the 12th. I believe it's at 6 p.m. And then there's 2 registration dates. We talked about that at the last meeting. The second registration date is January 26th. So hopefully anyone with some ECP children out there will go ahead and show up for the registration January 12th and 26th. Thank you. That's it for my report. Next on our agenda is an update from the Assistant Superintendent for Curriculum Instruction and Personnel. That would be you, Dr. Macaluso.
Good evening, everyone. So I will start off by provide some information or recap for the families regarding testing. So as we move into the winter season, just want to remind our parents that iReady middle of year assessments will begin in January, starting off with the 23rd at Lee F. Jackson for first grade, and those will continue all the way until February 3rd, various grade levels being tested at various schools. So please be on the lookout for notices from your school principal regarding that. We have a whole comprehensive schedule. I won't go ahead and provide it here, but the general district testing calendar is on the website under curriculum and instruction, and specific dates for your child's testing or for the grade that your child is in, and their testing dates can be found through your school principal. I want to remind the parents and community at Highview that a survey was sent out. It was a flyer from United Way with a QR code asking you to please provide us with your feedback regarding what would be your preferences for an after-school program that we will be starting there in Highview, and we anticipate that that will begin at 3:45 and continue all the way until 7 p.m. So please make sure that you complete that survey for us so that we can get some information as to what would work best for our parents. I do want to remind the community that the Harlem Wizards were here on January 5th at Woodlands Middle High School, and they will visit us again this weekend on Saturday the 14th, and there will be a game at Woodlands Middle High School. So for those of you who would like to join us for that, please make sure you purchase your tickets soon because they are quickly being sold out. And in fact, most of the tickets where you can get some courtside view have already sold out. So general tickets are still available. I'd like to also remind parents at our elementary schools that we have started to provide professional development for IB. This is a full IB district, K through 12, and our commitment to that means that we are providing our teachers with professional development. So what that means for you is you may notice that your child's teacher is in school but not present with the students, and that is because they are receiving training so that they can go ahead and enhance their skills and practices with International Baccalaureate, which again is our framework, K through 12, that we use throughout the district. And as a final piece, Trustee Mayors, I'm looking at the calendar, and we have the Lunar New Year celebration takes place on the 19th, I believe, looking at the calendar, January 19th at Richard J. Bailey. And then it continues the week of the 23rd here at Woodlands Middle High School. So that's where you see the decorations have started to be put out for Lunar New Year, both in here and outside. So please be on the lookout for all of those events here at our schools.
Thank you, Dr. Macaluso, and I appreciate the correction. It's Lunar New Year. I'm sorry for misquoting. Can you guys, please, or Dr. Iverson, get the board members, Harlem Wizards, QR codes in case they want to get tickets? Because I received mine as a parent, but we have some board members that aren't current parents, and so they may not have received the QR code to go.
Actually, I can do something I think that's even more helpful because QR codes I don't think are always the most favorable. I'll send everybody the link where you can go ahead and purchase tickets.
Wonderful. Thank you. Any other questions about Dr. Macaluso's report, curriculum? Anyone? No? Next, we have Assistant Superintendent for Business report.
Thank you, Trustee Mayers. We began the month of November with $39,534,491.28 and deposited $2,132,598.43. And between payroll and accounts payable checks, we dispersed $7,254,877.57 to end the month with $34,412,212.14. As previously stated, we are in the middle of our security audit and assessment. The audit and assessment for the Woodlands Middle High School has already been completed. ECP and R.J. Bailey Elementary School have been done at the beginning of this week, and I know that dates are being coordinated with both Highview and LF Jackson to get that done either towards the end of this week or next week, so that hopefully by the end of next week we will be completely done with that and hopefully receive our assessment from CLPS in the month of February. The Nutrition Committee met on January 4th. We discussed the Aramark contract with John McLaughlin, who is the director of our region. We discussed that we now have a new food service director, Mr. Rob Campisi, who previously was here at Greenberg and has now returned. And I distributed the results of the survey that was presented to parents and students, and we will be going into that in more detail at the next meeting. I believe that's on February 9th to discuss the survey. That will be one of our main topics, as long as sugar content in the foods that are served and any other pertinent items that the PTA members and students that sit on that committee bring. The EPC flyer was created and distributed to the Greenberg Library, the town of Greenberg. Mr. Feiner was gracious enough to put it on their website and leave it in the town hall for people to take as they come in, the Theodore Young Center. All schools were given the flyer to send home with students. It went to High Point, Mr. Simon and the property manager, as well as the presidents of each one of the condo buildings. It went to Stone Oaks and Juniper Hill. It's also on our website and on our social media. The R.J. Bailey Auditorium, everything is set, and DASNY has all the information that they have requested from us. We are just waiting on a response for the State Education Department for SHPO, which is the State Historic Preservation Society, to send us a letter determining whether it is a historic site or not, and the SECRA was already submitted. The Woodlands Middle High School track, the initial paperwork for the grant from Senator Stuart Cousins has been filed, and I'm waiting to hear if they need any additional information at this time. The mansion roof, half of the roof replacement has been completed. They are continuing to work on the asbestos removal, and then we'll finish the remainder of the roof. The Highview roof has been completed and inspected. There are a few punch list items that are currently being taken care of. Dr. Iverson, Dr. Macaluso, and I met with our representative from Capital Region BOCES to discuss the next steps in the grant writing process for the 2023-24 school year, and our representative has since been working on that. We also have another designated person from Capital Region BOCES who will be looking for additional grants for us, and they will meet with us the next time we meet with Nancy Morrison, who is our representative. And that's all I have.
Thank you, Ms. Raymond. Can you repeat, you said high school track, what exactly? Because we do have some high school students here, so I want to make sure.
The initial paperwork from the State Senate, one of Senator Stuart Cousins' representatives, just like with DASNY, they have their own representatives, sent me the paperwork. I filled all that out with the architect, with Dennis Pugliese and myself. We got that all done and we filed it. We're just waiting to hear if they need additional information.
And that is for what with the high school track?
That's for the track, for the $500,000.
To repair the high school track.
To replace the high school track.
Thank you, to replace. Yeah, I got to be clear about those words because
Correct.
there is a difference. Repair and replace.
It's not a repair, it's a replacement.
To replacement.
Correct.
Wonderful. Thank you for the clarity. I see Trustee Vallon's hand.
Sorry, you mentioned that some civic associations had received information about the upcoming EPC vote. I'm just wondering if any other civic association listening to this would like copies of flyers, would they be able to contact you and
Yes,
provide?
they can either call me at my extension here or send me an email, and I will get them the number of copies that they need, and we will have them delivered to them.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Any other questions for Ms. Raymond? I did just want to address the Nutrition Committee. I was looking for the list here because we have a list on who's actually on the committee, and I know it's probably a little bit of a confidential matter, but do you have parents that are of free and reduced lunch on that committee? Is that a mix of parents there?
I contacted the president of the PTA Association.
The PTAs generally don't have a mix of parents. So, I mean, did you talk?
I don't remember her name, Yzette.
The president of the council.
Yes, that lady. She contacted all of the schools, and those PTA members picked a representative that sits. And I cannot tell you if they.
Yeah, no, it's a difficult thing. I want to make sure that there's some real diversity and equity when you're talking about nutrition and food, and we get good feedback. I did see that the students, you're going to try to have some students on that committee, so that's helpful.
I have a middle school student and a high school student.
Wonderful, wonderful.
Yes.
Okay, I just want us to all try to keep being mindful of being as diverse and equitable as possible. Okay, thank you. Next on our agenda is public comments. I have a long statement here to read about public comments, but I do have some people signed up. I don't know if everyone signed up that wants to sign up, so I don't know if I only have 4 names here, but there's a lot of people here, so I don't know if there's more that would like to sign up, but I'll read the long statement. I got a request to read this long statement, so bear with me. As we have an audience at our board meeting this evening, I think it would be helpful to outline our regular protocol and some basic rules with regard to comments from the public. While the law does not require that the board permit public comments, this board has traditionally allowed and encouraged input from the public. We wish to remind all present that per Board Policy 1510, we require that all speakers adhere to the following protocols to allow everyone a fair opportunity to be heard and allow for efficient operation of the meeting. Persons wishing to address the board must advise the president of the board in writing by the district clerk at the start of the meeting. The request is to be made in writing on a form, that's this form, provided by the district clerk. Any group or organization wishing to address the Board of Education must identify a single spokesperson. Speakers will be permitted to speak for no longer than 4 minutes. Work session speakers may comment on matters relating to any agenda item. The Board of Education will not permit public comments involving specific district personnel or specific students. Any such information should be directed to the superintendent and will be addressed through appropriate channels. All speakers are to conduct themselves in a civil manner. Obscene language, scandalous statements, threats of violence, statements advocating racial, religious, or other forms of prejudice will not be tolerated. We will take all information under advisement for the board's consideration. In most cases, there will be no response from the board during a board meeting as to keep the meeting moving. Finally, when called upon, please state your name for the record before beginning your public comment. We appreciate everyone's cooperation. Okay, so I have 4 names here. I'll start with the top, Ms. Karina Gabriel. And you have 4 minutes. Is the 4-minute timer on the screen there? Well, we can't see the screen.
Hello? Okay.
So,
Just checking.
okay. Yeah, I can see. Thank you.
Do I just start? Okay. Good evening, everyone. My name is Karina Gabriel. I have 2 children in the district, a senior and a 7th grader. We have been here since my son started LFJ in 2010. Both of my children are multi-sport athletes. In the last 3 years, my son has had 3 new football coaches in 3 years. 4 if you include the interim coach. During this time, there were also multiple assistant coaching changes. As of this year, he now has had 2 basketball coaches in 4 years, again, with multiple assistant coaching changes. From my understanding, this year, the varsity girls volleyball team also underwent a sudden coaching change with no word mentioned to parents or players prior. Why is this acceptable? There is no consistency in our athletic department. There is barely any communication. Our children are not provided necessities. For example, our teams, including varsity sports, do not have matching uniforms, specifically varsity and JV boys basketball, girls varsity basketball, baseball, and both football teams. Our teams look disheveled upon arrival to away games and are usually just arriving at game time instead of being there prior to warm up. Woodlands teams are known for their mishmash uniforms, and it's quite embarrassing. Despite the lack of consistency, lack of communication, lack of standard equipment, I have kept my children here. In retrospect, this was a complete disservice to my son. I will not allow the same thing to happen to my daughter, who has been playing varsity basketball as a 7th grader. Given the lack of consistency in our athletic department, I should not be shocked by the abrupt termination of my daughter's varsity basketball coach. I am, however, extremely confused by this decision. We have someone who is invested and dedicated, passionate and caring. He goes above and beyond, taking his personal time to train and work out, often before the school day begins as early as 6 a.m. He's developed Woodlands basketball into a winning program. He shows up and is always there for our girls. We have a very young team with a lot of talent. We should be doing everything we can to keep them together. A few weeks ago, an incident took place at an away game in Tuckahoe. My daughter was shoved to the ground intentionally with 2 hands several times. She asked the official for help, and he did not want to hear her, which is when Coach came into her defense. The safety of my child is important, and I leave it in the hands of other people when she plays competitive sports. I am grateful that he spoke up out of concern for her safety. There have been multiple instances of unfair treatment toward our girls, with obvious bias being shown in regard to race and ethnicity. These instances should have been reported to Section 1, but they likely were not. In general, for coaches, why would termination be the first course of action? Are there no verbal or written warnings given first? Couldn't there be some other method of corrective action prior to termination? Why was my daughter told her coach was suspended for the rest of the season when in fact he was terminated? This makes her believe he will be back next year. There is nothing more important than our children. Unfortunately, it seems that this is not about our children. This was a personal administrative decision made with a complete disregard for the team, the parents, and the district in general. Poor decisions like this are why people, particularly athletes, leave this district. Please help us keep these girls here. We would like to see Coach Postel reinstated immediately as girls varsity head basketball coach.
We can't say names. Thank you. Next on our agenda, we have Chris Gabriel. Please don't say any names. Thank you.
Testing. Good evening. My name is Chris Gabriel. I am the father of the two children that my wife just mentioned. I agree with everything that she just said. I just wanted to, have you guys seen the video of the incident in question? I don't expect you to, it's a rhetorical question, but if you haven't seen it, after he went to talk to the official, after he had gotten thrown out for arguing about what happened to my daughter, he went to talk to the official, and the official walked up to him and kind of leaned into him and threw himself on the ground and then started convulsing. How we got to firing him when we should have, our community, our athletic department, our district, should have come together to support our coach in that instance. That referee, I assume we tried to get the video from Tuck. Oh, they took it down with all the incidents in there. I assume we tried to get that, and I hope you get a chance to see it if you haven't seen it, because it's the most embarrassing thing I've ever seen from an official. And that official, we should be going after that official for what he did, because he put a man's livelihood at stake. Okay, this man might be losing his job because of what that man did, and I think it's sick. Okay, this coach is passionate. I had a lot of things written down, but I'm not even going to write down because I'm passionate right now about this, because he's passionate about our kids. Okay, athletics academics are obviously most important, but athletics and other extracurricular activities are extremely important as well. They teach our kids values and that are going to help them throughout the rest of their lives. And he works his butt off with all these girls, like no coach I've seen in this district. We have a lot of great people in here, but I've never seen someone like him. To be able to have that energy that he has from morning to night is amazing to me. Okay, when I allow my daughter to play, I expect that coach to stick up for them. I expect that coach to look after their well-being. And he went above and beyond doing that to protect her. And I'm damn proud of him for doing that. And I hope that wasn't a curse. I hope that, that's what I want every coach to do, to take care of our kids. And that's the most important thing. My wife mentioned some of the other stuff that's gone on in the last few years. We used to have a proud athletic department here. The last few years, it's been an embarrassment. Not only did we lose, we look mishmashed. Kids have left because of it. We've lost a lot of good kids, not just good athletes, but a lot of good kids and good families from here that we otherwise wouldn't have. And we need to keep them together. This team over here, there's a lot of girls out there. They have so much potential, and they're going to be dominant over the next few years. And they're going to bring a lot of positive press to this school that we need really badly. So I really hope that you guys reconsider this decision to fire a coach and to bring them back, and think about our girls, think about our community, think about our school. And thank you for your time.
Natalia Gabriel.
Is it on? Oh, yeah. Hi, my name is Natalia Gabriel. Those are my parents. They just spoke. As they said, I'm sorry. As they were saying, Coach, he is passionate. He was doing his job. He was protecting us. My teammates and I, we were getting hurt out there. Like, if he hadn't done what he did, one of us could have gotten severely hurt. And that's what's important. He did his job protecting us, which the refs weren't doing. And that's amazing. He would wake up at 6 a.m., drive to the school, work out with me and my brother. And that's something that none of my coaches have ever done for me. And like my parents were saying, we've lost so many good athletes, good kids, just because the coaching and the athletic, just the way that the department is run and works, it's just not very great. The jerseys, the coaching staff, everything, it makes it hard to stay here and be an athlete. And Coach, he's passionate, like my parents said. He's somebody who is always protecting us, making sure we're okay. You might not like the way he coaches, but that's just tough love, and that's the way that he works for us. Any of them over there could agree with me, and I believe that you should really rethink the decision to fire him, because he's such a great coach. I've never seen, none of my coaches that I've played with or played for have ever worked with me at 6 in the morning, never told me or yelled at me, but then and disciplined me the way that I need to be. And I feel like that's something sorry, that should be taken into account. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Gabriel. Next, we have Julia Cintron.
Hi, my name is Julia Cintron, and I'm in my second year at SUNY New Paltz, and I graduated from Woodlands in 2021. Feels like a long time has passed since then. But so I wanted to talk a little bit about Coach and his impact on my life, because I was in the volleyball program from 7th to 12th grade. So I spent my whole time at Woodlands in the program. And the first year we had a different coach, and then when y'all know who came in, he absolutely transformed the program, and we had a bunch more girls, and we had multiple teams, and we didn't always have enough, what's the word, jerseys and everything to go around, but the program was booming, and there was a lot of people, and there was girls learning, and that was what was most important, because it hadn't been that big in years. And the numbers speak for themselves, but not only the amount of girls, but the impact that the program had on our lives was what really moved us, and was what kept us coming back and inviting our friends to come play with us and try a new sport out. Because you're here 8 hours a day and you're going through the motions through 1st through 8th period, but you have nothing else after that. But when you have a sport, you have friends, and you learn how to become a part of a team and how to work with other people. And you gain a lot of skills from being in a team that is managed by somebody who's dedicated. Because when you see that dedication in your coach, it's reflected in yourself. And I know for me, it was my junior year, I tore my ACL during preseason, and I wasn't able to play that whole season. And Postel knew, I'm not supposed to say names, but he knew that it was a big part of who I was and what I did, and I felt like I didn't have anything outside of that, which was not true, and he made me realize that. But he also made sure that I was still able to be involved, and I was still able to go to practices and games and show my support, and he never made me feel like my injury took me out of the team or the program. I was still always actively a part of everything. And not just volleyball, but basketball. He shows his dedication in many ways, and he's always there. He sees us more than he sees his family, and he's here day in, day out, putting in the work in that not a lot of other people stood up to do, because at the beginning, we were always looking for coaches and always looking for somebody to step up to the plate and teach us how to play and put the work in. So I'm urging you guys to think about this decision and do it for the kids, and because not a lot of people that we come across nowadays are willing to do the job that he does. So, yeah.
Thank you. So specifically to the child that spoke, I just want to thank you for coming out and speaking, because we love hearing from children. And the Board of Education gets quite a bit of information, but it's always nice to hear public comments and hear from our children, so thank you. Next on our agenda is our executive session. I see hands, but we have to move on in the agenda. So trustees, the board operates as a unit, so I will speak to the board and see if anybody has any feedback. So what has happened is we've had a request. I guess a bunch of kids came in and said that they would like to speak, but we just had public comment. So what does everyone want to do? Trustee Pineda?
Sure. So what I would suggest is we ask for a representative to be chosen amongst the group to speak on the group's behalf. I'm willing to do that. I think that's amenable.
Trustee Pineda, I think that's a good middle ground. Thank you. Trustee Along, you want to give feedback? I'll go around.
I support the idea of having a representative from the group if the subject is all the same subject.
Right, so I will ask that. Thank you, Trustee Long. Trustee Thomas?
I agree.
Trustee Vallon?
I agree, but I'll remind everyone that they could also email the board at greenbergcsd.org in addition to choosing your representative.
Thank you, Trustee Vallon. So just for clarity as well, we could always also get emails, and that's board@greenbergcsd.org. And to the young man that just spoke out from the audience, is the topic the same from everyone?
Yes, but I would personally like to speak as an individual, not for the group.
So you would like to speak as an individual. Is there someone that wants to speak as the group, for the group? Okay, so there's two people, one as an individual and one person speaking as a group. Okay, can you come to the mic, give me your name. Yes. Yes, yeah, and then they can sign up. That's good. Okay, that's a good point. Okay, so we're sending back the sign-up sheet so that you could sign up, please. Thank you.
Thank you.
Handouts? Oh, sure. Someone has a handout for us, you mean? Oh, okay. I was confused. I thought you meant to hand it out there. I'm like, what are we handing out? I don't know what this is. Quick notes. Shows straight away from. Okay. Okay. Oh, Christine, I think they have the sheet here. Yes, so two people, but we see three people. So we have 1, 2, 3. So who's speaking up? So first we have a person speaking on behalf of themselves. So that's Michael McCoy. Okay, okay. When you're ready, we'll start with 4 minutes.
Hello. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak. I appreciate that. My name is Michael McCoy. I have 2 children who are currently in the school district, one who's graduated. And before I continue, good sir, gentleman typing on the laptop, how are you? For the last 8 minutes, 2 people have spoken. You've yet to look at them. I don't know how many people you receive in these meetings, but I'm assuming not many. So if you could please just pay a little bit of attention to people who are addressing the people who make the decisions on their behalf. I would deeply appreciate that. Thank you. So again, outside of assisting with the girls varsity program, I also work for the Theater D. Young Community Center. I have coached, mentored, and pushed several kids through this school district. And the unfortunate truth is a lot of them leave because of the quality of the people coaching. The more quality coaches you push out, the less kids you maintain. Now, I understand that you put academics first, and everyone has to represent the school accordingly. But you also have to understand that when a coach is feel like he's being mistreated, as well as our girls, more importantly, someone has to say something. This has been an ongoing situation where our athletics department has allowed for our girls and our coaches to be treated unfairly, and it's not okay. I didn't have a lot to say, but I just wanted to be heard, and thank you for the time.
Okay, thank you. Next, we have Tiffany Nicholson.
Hi, my name is Tiffany Nicholson. I'm a senior at Woodlands High School. I've been playing varsity basketball for as long as I can remember, since I got here, 7th grade. I switched in and out with different coaches, but I think I started off with Ty, then I had another coach. I started off with one coach, then ended up with another coach, and then they had another coach come back, and we started working. And people don't understand, like, when a coach comes in and motivates you to do something that maybe you don't believe yourself you can do. Coach was really that person. He not only did he have respect on the court, but he had respect in the school. And I feel like that terminating his position, I feel like that shouldn't happen, especially during my senior year, where I feel like I'm supposed to carry this team and make an effect on this team that I've been on for years. So terminating Coach Ties for that specific situation, and nobody asked for the team's input, because I feel like my voice should be heard. I'm a senior, and this is affecting me a lot. A lot. I get injured every game. I take one from my team, and I feel like I got to stand on, when coach is not there, I got to stand on for my team. So doing this and terminating, like, I don't want to play no more. My team is probably the only reason why I'm here. But yeah, I hope y'all can reconsider Ty's position, coach's position, and not fire him for me, for my senior year, for the students. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Nicholson. And last, we have Tyron Postel.
Greetings. I believe she handed out a form to each of the board members, just giving a layout of a spotlight of my career here as a coach at Woodlands. First of all, let me start off by saying greetings to all board members, family, student body, the community who is watching. My name is Tyron Postel. I'm a proud Greenberg president and Woodlands High School graduate. Through the experience at Woodlands High School in this district, I went on to Fairleigh Dickinson University and became the first in my immediate family to receive a bachelor's degree. I'm a family man. My wife and I have been together for 25 years. We have two beautiful daughters, 20 years old, Natalia Postel, who was valedictorian of high school and currently in her third year at Georgian Court University on a basketball scholarship. 17-year-old Notori Postel, who is a senior in high school, holds a 4.25 GPA and currently holds multiple offers to attend School of Higher Learning for basketball and academics. I currently hold the title as a Safety and Security Officer for the Greenburgh Central School District, and I have the privilege of ensuring the safety of 150 students and staff between our ECP campuses. I am currently in my 15th year of service, great service, by the way, and I pride myself on protecting the integrity and the perception of this district as a whole, athletically, academically, on campus, off campus, at all times. In addition, I've been working with the athletic department. This is my 13th season with the athletic department. I've coached 11 years with basketball, 5 years with volleyball, 2 years with softball, respectfully. In each of those tenures, I've had positivity and no negative input as far as incidents and things of that nature go. I'm here before you today because I have unjustly been terminated from the head coaching position. I've coached with the same coaching style, high energy, and passion in the previous years, and received multiple technical fouls throughout the previous seasons, and never given a corrective conversation, reprimands verbally or written, or disciplinary actions with respect to my behavior or conduct on the court. In addition, I haven't received protocol for expectations with respect to technical fouls prior to the start of any season within the last 4 years, or an evaluation at season's end with a breakdown of my strengths, my weaknesses, which I believe would have assisted in the recent occurrences. Yet, the decision to terminate me was rendered for an isolated incident in technical fouls. It's unclear to the parents, the players, and my coaching staff as to why I was relieved of my duty, as I was protecting my students, athletes from obvious physical abuse outside the scope of the sport, which was happening in the majority of our games this season and previous, and not being controlled by the officials after multiple requests to the athletic department, my apologies, to kind of look into that. As a coach, my job is to teach the game, build character, and to protect the civil rights of our student athletes on and off campus, including their safety within the confines of competition. The basketball court should be a safe place, and nowhere, any shape or form, racial divide or anything of that nature should be dictated with that in respect. I ask that you review the decision, and I thank you greatly for the opportunity to speak. You all have a good evening.
Okay, thank you. So now on our agenda, we have to go into executive session. It's now 7:38 p.m. Thank you. Can I get a motion, please? I'm sorry. Can someone please give me a motion to go into executive session
I move that we adjourn to executive session.
to discuss?
Collective bargaining negotiations pursuant to Article 14 of the Civil Service Law, as well as matters deemed confidential by state or federal law, including seeking advice from counsel.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
All those in, it's been properly moved in second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries at 7:39 p.m. Thank you. It's 11:30. We're live, Steve?
Yep, we're live.
Awesome. It's 11:31. We are back from executive session, and we're going to move along in our agenda. Sorry. Have to turn to the right page. D1, work session approvals. First, we have our personnel instructional items. Can I get a motion?
I move that we approve the instructional personnel items presented to the board for approval this evening.
Second.
It's been properly moved in second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstention? Motion carries. Next, we have D2, personnel non-instructional items.
I move that we approve the non-instructional personnel items presented to the board for approval this evening.
Second.
It's been properly moved in second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. D3, board action items.
I move that we approve the board action items presented to the board for approval this evening.
Second.
It's been properly moved in second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. D4, pupil personnel items, services items.
I move that we approve the pupil personnel services items presented to the board for approval this evening.
Second.
It's been properly moved in second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. Now we're going to go forward to, if anybody has a page, please let me know. Is it 26? No, 26 total. Here it is. I, review agenda items for our next meeting, page 12 at the bottom.
You could start at 15.
I'm sorry?
You could start at page 15 if you wanted, because the only rest is personnel that we shouldn't really talk about over here.
Let's do that. Then you're going to confuse me.
Sorry.
So I'm going to do I1. Any questions, concerns? No. I2. I3. Actually, on I2, the only comment is that you're going to look into that, Dr. Iverson. And got it. Thank you. I3. I4. I5. I6. I have a question about IB training. So generally, we train certain staff on in IB. And my question is the training ever away? Like, is the training always like? Is the training always online or local? Do they ever come in and do the training? Could you give us some more information about how, because I'm wondering if it would ever be more financially feasible to have like a training here and just do like, you know how you do superintendent's days and like, but do an actual like, or maybe it doesn't work that way. I don't know. That's why I'm curious as to how that works. We did look at different options, right? There's online and there's virtual and there's all these things, but there's also like going away to particular places for trainings. I know I've also asked before about whether or not someone needs to be fully IB trained before teaching a class of some sort, and I was told no, as long as they're getting the training or something like that. So if you could just get us some more information about that, that would be helpful. Okay, I'll keep going. I7, I8, I9, I10, I11.
I wasn't able to get the report up, but we need to take notes for this and pass it on to Lisa Raymond. I know that the expenditures in terms of operations and maintenance are significantly higher this month than they are last month or any of the past 3 months. I'm wondering what's causing that, if there are some big ticket items that happened to hit in November that weren't there. So that's an item for Lisa. I'll follow up with an email on that. Okay.
Excuse me. May I ask Trustee Warner to copy the full board on the query?
Sure.
So we all, thank you.
And that was I-11. David? Okay, I-12. Any questions? No? I-13. I-14. I-15. I-16. I-17. I-18. I-19. I-20. I-21. I-22. I-23. I-24. I-25. And that is the end of the section for items for next meeting. Now we're going to move to our closing items. We have new business items. Does anyone have any new business to discuss? Are you moving, Trustee Valen, because you have an item?
No.
Okay, well, I have two items to discuss. One is our 6 p.m. start time. So, board, we tried to be, I guess, prudent in timing and start early this year. By history, board meetings were always 7 o'clock. That's work sessions and regular meetings. And then we moved it to 6:30 a couple times. And then ultimately this year, we made a blanket decision to move all work sessions to 6 p.m. and regular meetings to 7. I can get some data if you need, but I believe that the last few meetings or all the 6 o'clock meetings this year have had people like late or tardy or running late. I myself end up rushing, and I would like to at least move the 6 p.m. start time to 6:30 for work sessions. But I'm interested to hear everyone else's feedback and whether or not 6 p.m. works for everyone. Anyone? Trustee Warner?
I think that if we're having trouble getting a quorum at 6 p.m., that we should move to 6:30.
Okay. Trustee Along?
I'm fine with 6:15 or 6:30.
Trustee Pineda?
I would say 6:30.
And Trustee Valen?
I would like to go as early as possible because we started at 6:30 today and it's 11:30 and I'm exhausted. But if quorum is an issue, I guess I want to see the data. I feel like this is an outlier. I don't think we've started late every time. So I'd like to see the data.
Okay.
And I'd prefer to start as early as possible.
Yeah, I don't know that we start late every time. I think it's that people are running late. So you'll get people kind of rushing to get here and straggling in. So for me, 6:30, the reason why I'm saying 6:30 is because it's cleaner. Like people can just get here and be here and start on time as opposed to us starting people walking in or rushing or, you know, having to text or say they can't make it or they're running late. That was the goal. But we can look at the data to if there's any, or even in the video, we can watch and see if people are running in and rushing for 6 p.m. Sorry, Trustee Thomas?
I'm fine with 6:30.
6:30. Okay, so we do have 4 for 6:30. So moving forward, we will try for 6:30. Yes, Trustee Valen?
So since at the beginning of, when we approved the meeting dates at the reorganization meeting, we did a big public notice announcement on our official meetings. If we're going to officially change this to 6:30, do we need to do any special notice?
Christine, do you know?
For the remainder of the year, or just do it now monthly? So if we're having, so there's 4 votes and we're officially doing all work sessions now for 6:30?
Work
Is that what
session
I'm hearing?
6:30, regular meeting 7.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, and then the second issue that I was going to bring up is whether or not we're taping, videotaping with live YouTube. There's 2 issues. One is taping in general, and one is taping with live stream. So I'm going to be asking everyone, do you want to tape, or do you want to tape and live stream, which is what we're doing right now, or do you want to have no tape at all, which is the previous way of doing things before COVID? And that's of the work session only. Trustee Valen.
I'm sorry, I have to close one more item on the previous thing. So do we need an official resolution approving the start time for the work sessions, changing that from 6 to 6:30? Since we had to do a resolution for the original public meeting dates and times?
That's a Carol question, or Christine, and Christine's nodding, so maybe we could get that resolution for the next board meeting.
Oh, you want it written? Oh, never mind. I was just going to, I move that we change the start time for the work sessions from 6 p.m. to 6:30 p.m. for the entire school year.
Thanks. David?
Second.
It's been properly moved in second. Any more discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. Thank you, Trustee Warner. Solved that problem. Thank you, Trustee Valen, for the compliance on that. Okay, we're going to turn to the next issue, which is taping. So we have, since COVID, gone into taping all of our meetings. That's work sessions as well as regular meetings. And it's been a discussion in various settings. You mentioned, Chris Valen, in our last Governance and Policy Committee. It did come up on whether or not we should discuss that. So I'm bringing it to the full board to skip the committee. How do people feel about the taping? Does anybody have a strong opinion either way?
What, if
Yes,
any,
yes. Trustee, I'll let you go first, Trustee Thomas.
what, if any, rationale would we have for not taping and recording live?
Great question. I will help you with that. It has been my experience, mine alone, I'll speak for myself, that people are a little bit more themselves when the camera is off. And there's a lot more public session discussion that happens when the camera is off. It's still a public meeting. So like last meeting, we did have a person come and sit, I don't know if you recall, in the Freelo Center. Someone came in and sat in the audience there, but we had some discussion, but there's a lot more discussion when the camera's off. I think that the discussions, even in exec session, then when we kind of veer into public session, we have to pull ourselves back and say, no, we got to wait. We don't ever end up having those public conversations, and I wonder if the camera hinders that. Prior to COVID, prior to the cameras, there was a lot more discussion had. Additionally, there were a lot more people that would come and have public comments untaped. There have been people, at least who have commented to me and other trustees, I don't know if they want to say right now on camera, but have said, I don't want to be on camera. Like I would come to the board meeting or I'd make a statement, but I don't necessarily want to be on camera. And so because of that, again, it's a public meeting, people can still come, there's still notes that details what happened, but the camera aspect, which adds another element for people, is not necessarily there. And again, there's different options. Maybe you tape it and it's not live streamed, but I wonder if the camera being removed completely, whether or not that hinders the true board process of discussing issues. So that would be the rationale. Trustee Pineda.
Should I wait in turn to say what I?
Oh, yeah.
The opinion of how to.
Well, I think it was discussion.
So, go ahead.
No more discussion for you?
No, I know how I feel. So
okay, sounds good.
What?
So you're ready to poll?
Trustee Pineda. Oh, I thought you wanted to share. No?
You want to poll? I'm ready.
Trustee Along?
I would like to add just one element to it beyond the camera and the layout. I find that this layout is probably less conducive to work session conversation. It's formal, and we're separated, and sometimes I hear others better than other times, that perhaps a layout could benefit, a change in layout where we're maybe a little closer together or facing each other and not trying to look across each other, that there would be some benefit in conversation in our work sessions with a change in layout also.
So the last time I did change, we were in the Freelo Center because there was concerts up here in December. I did change the layout, but you do like that better, the closer. I don't know that we could do that on the stage here, but probably like in a Freelo Center situation. We did have the camera still there though, and discussions were a little different. So yes, Trustee Pineda and then Warner.
Yeah, I don't see why you couldn't do that layout up here. If the table went this way. It was basically a rectangle, right?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I guess we would talk to audio visual, but I don't know whether or not everybody could be seen if it's like a,
But-
like block people.
You know, if we're gonna talk about the nature of the work session and we're considering not having cameras and all that, then let's remove that from the equation for 1 second. Let's just think about the intent, right? The intent is for everyone to feel more comfortable to have a conversation with each other in a less formal setting. Then that's regardless of the camera. That can be just done as setting it up as a rectangle the way we did that day in the Freelo Center, but do it here on the stage. I think that's fine. And then when we get to layering in the camera or not, that's part of why I say up here, because my preference would be to continue streaming and recording live. And then the rectangle could just be set up here. That's how I would do it.
Okay.
But that's just me.
Trustee Warner?
I go and look at the incidence of COVID on a weekly basis on my computer, and like 8% of the people in the hospital beds now have COVID, right? So we're condition orange. So I kind of think that a lot of people who might have felt more comfortable in an in-person environment now maybe have a reason not to. So for that reason, I think it's probably important. I know there are counter arguments, but I think it's important that we tape and are live. So that's my feeling. Yes, the more informal environment is fine. We can go with a different table layout for a board work session than we do for a board meeting. But I think we need to, being open in this environment means having the camera on us.
So maybe we try a layout change first before that sort of proposal. Okay. Is everybody okay with the layout change?
Sure.
Anybody object to a layout change? The square?
I'm fine.
Everybody's fine with that? Okay.
I guess, and I mean, with that, I don't know whether we want to spend more money, but that there are cameras that you can put right in the middle of a section that can capture everyone just as well as, actually probably better than the way that it is now if we made that adjustment.
Okay. But since you mentioned COVID and our level of, Trustee Valen, keep me honest. What was the policy or the restrictions with virtual meetings again? Does anybody recall?
It's been a while since I've had to pull that out of my brain, but we are only allowed to have virtual meetings when, for example, a local emergency is declared, and we're unable to meet in person. Other than that, the majority of the board needs to be present, and those who want to attend virtually need to basically have an emergency reason, and the accommodations made for that board member to attend virtually also have to be made for the public to attend virtually. I'm not sure if that answers your question.
It does. No, thank you. That was, so the board cannot, it does answer my question. The board cannot vote majority or unanimously, whatever, to meet virtually if like numbers go up, but
there's no emergency declared by the state. Right.
Right.
The state or the local.
Right. I'm thinking of like after
County supervisor.
Thanksgiving and Christmas, it was a lot of cases even in the buildings. So we could not have. Okay, thank you for that I'm sure you'll double check and let me know if I'm wrong, but okay. All right, any other new business? No? Hearing none. Is there a motion to adjourn?
I move we adjourn.
Second.
Thank you. It's been properly moved in second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. It's 11:51. Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Thank you.
Good night.